Now to that dramatic bridge collapse in the eastern U.S. city of Baltimore. The Francis Scott Key Bridge almost entirely collapsed Tuesday. Just take a look at that after it was struck by a cargo ship overnight. Several vehicles were sent plunging into the river below. Now, two people have been rescued so far, but at least seven are still in the water after several vehicles fell in.
About 0150 hours, our first unit arrived on scene and reported a complete collapse of the Key Bridge. We were also given information at that time that there were likely multiple people on the bridge at the time of the collapse, and that as a result, multiple people were in the water. We were able to remove two people from the water. One individual refused service and refused transport. Essentially, that person was not injured. However, there was another individual that's been transported to a local trauma center that is in very serious condition.
France 24's Fraser Jackson is on site at the bridge collapse where that happened just a few hours ago. He joins us now from there. Fraser, what more can you tell us?
There's a very strong police and emergency services presence here. We are just about half a mile from the bridge collapse. It's actually, if I step out a shot, just behind me. This road here has been filled with police and emergency services going back and forth to the bridge, which is just beyond the bend at the end of the road there. Now, we know that at 1:30 local time in the morning, a Singaporean flagged container ship just under 1,000 feet long struck the structure which supports that span bridge, the third largest span bridge in the world, and produce those devastating images that we've been seeing all morning of that catastrophic collapse of the bridge. Two people have so far been rescued from the water. At least seven are believed to have fallen in, but some media reports have said up to 20 could have fallen in. We know also that the search and rescue teams that are on site have been going since about 1:50 this morning. They found multiple vehicles that are believed to be inside the water, but the damage that has been done to that bridge is also catastrophic. They so far are still maintaining a search and rescue operation here. That's what we heard from the police chief. I asked him at what point did they start to shift the focus of that investigation. The police chief and the fire chief telling me that that will be something that will be decided by the divers who are on site trying to find those people. But with every minute that passes by, the likelihood of finding further survivors obviously diminishes. The water here is hovering around 10 degrees Celsius, the air even colder than that. Survivability in conditions like that, anything between 1 to 3 hours, and we are now approaching over 6 hours after the event. So it is becoming increasingly long odds for those who fell into the water.
It certainly is, and it's really devastating, like you say, Fraser, when we see those pictures. It's truly a catastrophe. I understand that Baltimore has now put in place a state of emergency. Tell us a bit more about what that means and if there's been any kind of reaction from the White House so far.
Yeah, the governor has put in place a state of emergency, which effectively gives the local authorities more powers. We know that this is a wide-ranging operation from the local FBI to the Department of Transportation. Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transport, is said to be in contact with local authorities as well. So this really is a multi-agency approach. That is what we've heard from the officials who have been keeping the press updated as we stand here. So far, we know that they are not treating this as a terror incident. That was one thing that had been reported potentially in local media, but the authorities here saying that so far that has been ruled out. So that means that effectively, talking to the Coast Guard as we have, there could be a couple of options left. Either there was some kind of mechanical failure of this ship, which then steered into the support structure of the bridge, or there was nobody at the controls. Now, authorities have spoken to the owners of this vessel, that Singaporean freight company, and they are said to be cooperating with the authorities and talking to them as well. So we'll likely hear more about that once authorities get on board that ship. So far, they can't because they need to do a damage assessment to see whether it's safe for them to get on board that ship. The crew believed to still be on board that vessel, albeit surrounded by strewn metal in that water. But the White House likely keeping a very close eye on this. Joe Biden will be keeping in contact with local law enforcement. He is off on a campaign stop on Tuesday, but will likely be kept abreast of this by his national security team and also by his aides as well.